Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here with Plumbing Webmasters.
Howdy.
Today's topic is small populations, big challenges, small town mapping for plumbing companies. We get this quite a bit more than you think. A lot of our clients,
we have a lot of clients in rural areas and smaller markets.
they move out there intentionally, Jason.
Yeah.
To be on God's country and shoot deer and ride
all
forward.
the big city bullshit.
Yeah,
Whatever.
get rid of all the big city bullshit, but still need to do business. So they will drive into town.
Yeah.
This is going to be on the outskirts of any town. It happens all the time. So I'll lay out some scenarios and we'll talk about them. One of them is somebody's literally in the name of the town, but they're so far out, they're kind of county.
Yeah.
The map itself doesn't show. And so,
your address might technically have that city name,
right,
but it's also not really in the city limits.
Right.
It creates a weird thing for the way Google views it.
Then
the way search engines view it.
We have other people that are like just in the middle of there's not a big town around.
Yeah.
And they're in a small area.
They're surrounded by small towns all around.
This happens anywhere from like Michigan to Texas to
that was a lot in Texas.
Even New Jersey. So it can happen in New Jersey, believe it or not. There's like all these little townships. Most of the time when people are facing these challenges, we need city pages. So we can do up to about 20 city pages to do this. Sometimes if the client's in a town of say 1,000 or 5,000, let's just say up to 10,000, and there's a city pretty nearby that has 50,000, we will actually optimize for the larger city.
Right.
So if it's close enough. Now, if it's too far away, they're not going to let you have it. Well, too far away we're going to define that by like over 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So if it's not really in the metro, we just had somebody, actually the guy just rode up, was in a suburb of Denver. So part of his pages, the primary stuff went for his town, which had about 20,000 people in it. And the more obscure stuff went for Denver. And the reason, why.
Yeah, because probably nobody in Denver is going for the obscure stuff.
Right.
And there's an opportunity there.
But if they're looking for a plumber, they need to have, they need that local map on that little area. And also, of course, with this client, we're giving him 20 city pages.
Yeah.
So sometimes we review this with clients and sometimes we don't. If somebody shows up number one in rankings in a town of 3,000, it doesn't really matter. Their phone's just not going to ring.
Yeah, there's not enough jobs at any given time.
Right.
To make it happen.
Right. So we end up having to do city pages almost on every time. And sometimes when I say we go for a different city, it means on the primary content pages, we'll actually go for the other city.
Yeah.
So the city next to them has more population. In some cases, even though I don't really go into this anymore because I'm frankly sick of the conversation, it is not my fault that they're in the small town.
Right.
Or that Google won't give them what they want. So what they want is they moved outside of Seattle because they hate Seattle, but they work the outskirts of town, Kirkland, wherever, but they moved.
The immediate suburbs of Seattle, because that's where all the people are.
Right.
Yeah.
But they moved up into the mountains a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like 15, 20 minutes outside of that.
Yeah.
So they want to work Kirkland and Seattle and all this other stuff. I'm getting that metro wrong, sorry, but
no, that's there.
Is that pretty good? I know in Kirkland up at the top, and then
Kirkland, Issaquah, Redmond,
and then you can get off to the right a little bit and kind of get into some. And we've had
that's where Issaquah
is.
Yeah.
So we
know somebody there. Ashland lives there.
Oh, okay.
Former employee of ours moved up to Washington.
Well, we had somebody there.
Yeah.
In that market too.
Oh, that's right, we did. Yeah.
And they were having the same issue. Now that client had moved out of town because they don't want to live in town anymore, and they had a big metal building that they're working out of.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to show up in the more populated market. So they can either stay where they are and have service and city pages done and maybe have the service pages go for a larger city, or they can move their damn location to a legitimate location. And we can talk about that real quick, but If you haven't noticed in the last
That's
6
technically a different topic because we're talking about being out somewhere and
it's
that puts
not
somebody
different.
back in
It's
somewhere.
not different because it's the problem. But
True.
I quit talking about it because clients want to start arguing about it.
I mean, I mean, it's a big ask for us to tell people, oh, you got to move your office.
A lot of
or
people
whatever.
move.
Yeah,
A lot of people move. A lot of people move, or they get, the rules basically state that you need to have an office that looks like you should occupy it and that it's occupied.
Yeah.
And so what that means is no P.O. boxes, no virtual spaces, no WeWork. And this is where people start arguing. Well, I've got a 10 by 10 inside of a bunch of horse shit P.O. boxes. So, well, Google may not like it. Well, and then the argument ensues.
Well, I've got a mailbox or I have a phone there or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. So normally these addresses, now many times these addresses are up, if they get verified, they're fine. The second best thing, and so what they really need is like a light industrial park or a really old shopping center or something. Is like, oh, there's a plumber in there.
Yeah.
Google can drive by, see the decal on the door, and somebody's in there every once in a while.
My favorite one was a guy that said, oh, I'm moving into this building and it's a little office building and I'm going to have a suite number. I was like, okay, that's usually okay, but can I ask you one question? He goes, sure. I said, does the postman come to your office door and put the mail through the slot or hand you the mail? He goes, oh no, the building manager takes all the mail and distributes it. I said, then it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because the post office does not know that address.
Yeah.
The address is the building.
If there's a USPS address on it.
Yeah.
And then there's not P.O. boxes, virtual space, or other crud in it.
Yeah.
Because their rules basically say you have an office and it's manned. And if you have an office that you're supposed to be a plumber, but the office is in with a 6-story high rise with a bunch of attorneys, then it might actually.
It looks weird.
It looks weird. It might actually get flagged by Google and taken down.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people say, well, Nolen, I know this guy. He games Google up one side, down the other. I mean, the amount of people doing that is almost non-existent at this point.
Yeah.
It's almost all been taken.
If you know somebody doing that, they're doing it temporarily.
It's temporary.
Because Google will catch
The
them.
intent is to catch them. So the other thing that seems to work sometimes, although I'm not necessarily condoning it because it's not in the guidelines, the Google Webmaster guidelines, but the houses seem to work most of the time, even though they basically say don't use them anymore.
Yeah.
So 9 out of 10
it's
times,
iffy. It's iffy.
they seem to work, but you'd always be in a little bit of danger. But a ton of contractors have successful home listings verified, and then you just put a service address on it. You don't show the address.
One thing I can tell you pretty unequivocally not to do, don't move from an office
to a home,
to a house.
Right.
That's death. We've seen it over and over.
Nolen Walker here for DataPens. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called DataPens, D-A-T-A-P-I-N-S. You can search it at datapens.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients, direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by DataPens, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out DataPens. I think you'll be happy you did.
Yeah, so if you have a legitimized office and you move it to one that's less legitimate in the eyes of Google, then the chance of it getting flagged and suspended are high.
Yeah, very high.
Yeah. So, and then, they don't want this stuff because, in case anybody's listening, they don't, this isn't unfair really because you're not paying Google. They're trying to protect search results for people, and they think that people that are closer to the searcher on their IP address is more relevant to search.
Right.
And if they let you put up an address wherever you want, then every aggressive business person would have 10 addresses and there'd be no search results.
And we know that because that's what happened.
That's
They
what
used
was-
to have
yeah.
no problem with you using your residence as your business address. And then the guy would go out and say, well, I'm going to get all my family and friends that live in a 50-mile radius.
Right.
And I was going, oh, I'm a plumber with 20 locations
Right.
all over, the next 3 counties. And because all those people abused it, they had to tighten the screws on it.
Yeah. So if you have more than one location within the same metro and you're a contractor, the chance of getting flagged is high.
Yeah.
What you want to have is a good location and work on. Now, it's not the end of the world if you're in a smaller market. And getting things like data pins too, by the way, we have a software company that lets you raise your hand all over town. And if you are in a rural market, the spread of where it's going to show on the map is going to be much larger.
Yeah. Google is aware of population density.
Right.
And they will give you, what we've seen is they will give you more credit for stuff
Right.
like data pins, and they'll allow you a larger piece of the pie.
So what that means is if you have like 5 reviews or 20, as you get more reviews and pins, you can get hundreds of pins really easily because you can tag every job you do, and they see that activity in the service area. They will show it in a larger market depending on the population density.
Yeah.
And you can show up in the adjacent town that you want to be in under those conditions, unless the adjacent town is humongous.
Yeah.
At which point the local people will beat you out of search.
Right. If you're sitting in a tiny town if you're sitting in a tiny town of 4,000 people next to a town of 50,000 people or 100,000 people,
And you're
they're
15 minutes away.
Yeah, they're not going to let you encroach on that.
Right.
But if you're surrounded by other towns of 4,000 to 5,000
Right.
people, then you're good. It works very well.
Correct. Okay, so yeah, in that case it works. And in any event, all of the stuff we're talking about, you have to go for what you can get.
Yeah.
And what you can get is usually great. Most people give up and don't do well online or think they're getting something, and they've left hundreds of % of things they could have gotten on the table.
Right.
And fixing the address will help immensely. So we help by making sure we're going for the right city. If you're staying in the same place, we look at things like the amount of city pages that you have, how much content. We literally, typically in a case like this, end up with more content because we're doing more city pages for these people to spread the reach out. And then things like data pins, which allows you to raise your hand. Instead of them just seeing the reviews, they see every job you do. And as they see you bouncing around the service market, it'll help expand the map.
Yeah.
In the more rural areas.
I want to make
Yeah.
a point about city versus county. A lot of people will come to us from all kinds of markets, big markets, small, rural, and dense, city markets, whatever. And they want to show up for the county because for whatever reason, they think that's the more relevant geographical division. And you can sometimes get it in organic results, not mapping and GBP, but in organic search results. But Google usually favors city names over county names.
Because it's local.
Yeah, that can flip in a rural area sometimes.
Not usually.
And there's a few places that are weird that it does, like Long Island, New York.
New Jersey townships.
Yeah, stuff like that. Because Long Island, you mentioned earlier how New Jersey has those townships.
Canada,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, Long Island is like that. It's all these tiny villages where you've got an area that's as dense as Dallas-Fort Worth in terms of population, but each village only has 500 people.
Right.
And so sometimes going for Nassau and Suffolk County on Long Island actually works, even for the map.
But we'll do a lot. If we do a Long Island site, we'll do a lot of city pages.
Yeah.
And they work fabulously. On Long Island.
We did one recently where we rejiggered it a little bit. We did city pages and we did county pages, and county pages actually performed really well.
Did they?
Because a lot of people on Long Island will say, I need a plumber in Suffolk County.
That's true.
And that doesn't happen as much other places,
doesn't
but
happen
Long
in the
Island
South.
is weird in many ways. My wife is from there. I'm allowed to say that.
It doesn't happen in the South as much, but yeah, we
Yeah.
get it. And then it'll change slightly as time goes on. But you have to think about it. And if you are in a small market, I'd go aggressive on it.
Nolen Walker here with Plumbing Webmasters. I'd like for you to consider becoming a client. We have a lot of great people that work here at the company. We help hundreds of clients. We've done this for 12 years now. We help clients dominate online. We're a digital marketing agency. I honestly don't think there's anyone better than us at this point in time. We'll help you with your design, your code, your content. We'll help you rank on Google Maps. We'll help you reputation reviews organically. We even have proprietary software that I own in a different company called DataPins, DATAPINS. DataPins allows you to post pictures of jobs with captions and geo coordinates right onto the website. It'll take 90 seconds. A 12-year-old could use it, but you'll be able to post daily and get daily activity, great content. It even posts it back to your Google account. It even texts and emails the client. So one simple thing where you pick a couple of photos you took, wrote a caption, put in the client's cell phone number and hit pin, and boom. And then that is in addition to all the other things that we do for you for SEO. We can also help with paid ads and other things too. But man, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. You can check us out at plumbingwebmasters.com.
I was just talking to my CPA, and she was saying, because she had recommended somebody over, and I said, well, he's not ready for it. She said, he doesn't need it. I said, no, he needs it. He's not ready for it. And then she said, well, I have another client, and they said that he's in auto body. I said, oh, he won't. It's a retail destination. I deal with contractors. Yeah. And she said, I said, it's retail. And she said, so he doesn't need it. I said, no, he needs it. And she said, so he could use it. He said he could, but he won't pay for it. But he said, well, why? I said, they just don't. I said, we used to deal with auto repair. We don't anymore. I said, everybody needs marketing. Everybody should market. Everybody should be as aggressive as possible. One of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because somebody's in a small market area, start making these narratives up in their head that are completely...
I just need word of mouth referral.
I'm in a small market, I can't market. No, you're in a small market and you could take over that small market.
Right.
And it's Google.
You might be the only plumber for 50 miles.
There'll be more than that, but let's be clear, if there's only one plumber in 50 miles, you don't need to market.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, you could be the top plumber in 50
There's always more than that.
Yeah.
So if they're in a small market area, it's a big country at this point. Even in these rural areas, they sprawl out. There'll be 50 plumbers.
Yeah.
They need to be in pack 3 for everything, pretty much, tons of stuff.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is that they're not typically up there, and they're missing most of their keywords because they're not doing things like data pins or have properly built out websites. They're missing all the local cities. They're missing all their services. They're missing their counties and city pages and all the nuanced things from the pins.
Right.
Like just replace a Renai tankless water heater and all that. So they can be a bigger fish, get a larger piece of the pie in the smaller town.
Right.
Smaller area. But they've got to be aggressive, and they got to do that properly. Otherwise, they're just going to be this small fish in a small town with a small population base.
Yeah.
Everybody can always use marketing. Everybody screws it up,
Generally.
Yeah. So I was just nicely telling her I don't want to deal with that auto body guy.
Yeah.
It's like, because the chance, she's like, he won't do it. I said, probably won't do it.
Yeah. The chances are low.
Plumbers, HVAC, a lot more savvy at marketing, mainly because there's more money there and they have a lot more people coming after them. I don't, if there was an area in the country, I'll pick on you one more time about the statement, with 50 miles where there wasn't a plumber, like people would move there like the dentist moved into town, like Little House on the Prairie. You know what I mean? Like,
so a plumber would go, oh, that's where I'm going to
we got a plumber finally.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll eat crow.
that stuff's that's been going a long time. There's not a list of like, I'm going to move into, what was the name of the town on Little House on the Prairie? I can't remember.
I do not remember.
But yeah, we're going to move into Springfield and, I'll be the first endodontist in the area. And they're like, oh my God, our gums can heal finally. Yeah. But yeah, seriously. I mean, there's massive competition even in these little areas, especially up in these townships areas. There's rare that like somebody's in like if the area is so small that there's no one. I'll give you one. We had a call the other day. I don't know if I even told you about this when they were, I think, in South Carolina on an island. Yeah, there's an island. And I was like,
how many color me ignorant? I didn't know South Carolina has
an island. Like North Carolina? An island.
Okay.
And I'm like, and they're like, well, we lived on the coast. We worked the island. So we're your office on the island. I was like, okay, how many people on the island? I said, she's like 15, 12,000.
I thought you were about to say 15
No,
people.
12, 15,000 people. I said, you only work the island. She said, I said, you don't want to work the mainland. She said, no. I said, you don't need to market. You don't need to market. Now, I'll tell you this, though, guys. If you're listening
And if he says that, it's serious, because he doesn't say that.
Yeah, I tell you this, though. If you're serious about you're not listening to us. If you're on an island with 10,000 people and you basically, she said, I don't want to work for, I don't want to do any jobs, But why did she call me? I think she wanted a website or something. I said, well, we don't.
Oh, she just wanted a website, didn't want the service.
People don't realize that when they call us and they ask to have a website designed, that they've just insulted us. Like the white glove came off. And I was like, yeah, we don't build websites like someone from a developing nation. We build websites like experienced Americans that do the best in the industry.
The only reason we build websites is so that all of our other stuff works.
Right.
Because it's like if you're a custom home builder and you have to pour the foundation to build a good house on it. If there was an old foundation from 100 years ago sitting there, you'd tear it up and build a new one. Same thing.
She had questions. We popped up. She was nice. I don't have anything against her. I just want to do. We don't do website builds because it's like calling Wix for $30 a month for a shit site that's not going to optimize.
Right.
It's like, no, you can go to Fiverr for that, or to some freelance site or Upwork and get
or go to Wix or GoDaddy Site Builder and do it yourself.
And do a little website. And but I wasn't rude to her.
Yeah.
She was nice.
Are you sure?
I'm sure I wasn't rude to her. I mean, if by being polite means that I waste our company's resources.
I actually had a current client recently said, hey, I'm starting the second business and I just want a website set up for it. I'm sorry, we don't really do that. Yeah. I said, I'd be happy to talk to you about full service, but he told me what it was, and it was something we don't handle. And I was like, yeah, I don't really think we can help you.
Yeah. Anyway, we do all that stuff, but you're obviously, you can fix these items. All right, guys, if you have problems, if you have issues, we're happy to help you.
And you probably do.
You probably. Well, if you're living like this, there's stuff to consider.
Yeah, there are unique challenges for marketing, for digital marketing in rural areas or outlying outside of big city.
Just in case, I'll say one more thing. Most agencies, when you call them, now we're completely opposite of most, because I know that if we don't set them up for success, they leave.
Right.
They're not going to pay. But most people, if you're in a town of 5,000, like, oh no, we're just going to focus on this town. Call them up, hey Bob, you're kicking it out of the park. You're number one for everything. And Bob's like, well, my damn phone don't ring, bro. And
so my phone number rings and I'm down to one truck. And yeah.
So you've got to have somebody that cares enough about you to fix these problems if you're in a smaller town.
Right.
Your plumbing company in a smaller town, you've got to do business a little differently. All these agencies love getting this because they can say, oh, you're number one for this and that. And we know damn well it's not enough phone call volume. You're going to have 5,000 people, you're going to have like 1,500 houses.
Yeah.
They're going to get plumbing done once a year, and they're all going to splinter over all the marketing techniques and people that are on Google already.
Right.
You can't go for that. You've got to expand the reach. Have to. So we help you with that. Anyway, like and subscribe. When you're ready, we're happy to help you and answer any questions, and we'll see you next time around.
Take it easy.